Now, as I stated earlier, the difference between us over here, the black conservative side, and you liberals, and let me be more specific with this one, because I'm specifically talking to black male liberals tonight. I'm talking to you. The difference between you guys and guys like me is that we actually hold the people we voted for accountable over here. Okay, we hold them accountable. You Negroes go with the flow, and as a result, you're embarrassing us all. And by us all, of course, I mean all black men, because 75% of us vote to the left. Now, what do I mean by embarrassment? First, I want to play this clip from the Michelle Obama podcast, okay? Because this is an embarrassment, okay? This is, it's going to be Michelle Obama with her brother and former president, her husband, Barack Obama, okay? And keep in mind, Obama is like a savior to you Negroes, okay? This is your savior that you're about to see talking, saying some of the most emasculating and moist shit I have ever heard spoken in my life. All right, so without wasting any more time, let's get to it.
Which it gets into sort of the misogyny that young boys are exposed to,
and the online, the
manosphere.
They're getting their parenting.
They're getting their
online.
parenting.
They're getting their notions of manhood from extreme.
Now, look how these two grown men curl up. The manosphere. You see how they immediately defer to the woman? They're having this whole entire episode, right? Matter of fact, it's called Barack Obama on what it takes to raise boys and how Michelle made parenting better. Off the break, the title of this video is some weak, emasculating punk shit. And you got to understand, when they say, oh, these boys are listening to the manosphere, you know what they're talking about. Off the break, they're talking about Kevin Samuels. They don't want the men to take that red pill, right? Because that's what it's called, the red pill. And that's not really called the manosphere, it's really called the red pill. They don't want men taking that red pill, because once men take that red pill, there's no turning back. Once you understand, for one, that most modern women are full of shit, and that for two, how they were programmed into being full of shit, you can never unsee it. It's never gonna go away. And once that goes away, right? Excuse me, once you take that red pill, and once you get that mentality, feminism doesn't stand a chance. Feminism doesn't stand a chance. And that's one of the tenets of modern day liberalism. Feminism. And I did a whole show about why feminism is one of the major principles of modern day liberalism. We ain't gonna get into all that, but long story short, feminism is a subcategory under communism. That's what they're working towards. But we ain't gonna get into all that. But anyways, look how effeminate these men are.
Extremists.
Yeah, extremists.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Because let's go back to the original question. All right, Emma's trying to figure out how to raise boys. I think we did a pretty good job of raising our girls. But I've said often that I think I would have had more difficulty raising a son.
I agree.
Because I think I might have been more judgmental, harder, and I would have tried to, I like to think I would have been more self-aware enough to combat that.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think father-son relationships, for me particularly, if I don't have a dad around to show it to me, might have been more difficult. So talk about, Craig, just how you thought about it. Was it just you took what your dad had done and you said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to try the same thing.
Or were there things
did
you
it
didn't
change
wanna
over
do?
time?
It was a little bit of everything, but what you're both saying. Initially, I thought, okay, I'm going to take what I learned from Dad, all the things that I thought were positive, and then the couple of things that I thought were negative, I was going to try and repurpose.
Right.
What were some of the positives?
Well, it's just kind of the stuff that I
Now check this out.
named before. The willingness to get up and go to work every day, taking me with him to see what it was like to have male relationships, either at work, at the barbershop. He didn't go to the gym, but in places where men hung out.
Right.
The record store, we would go to the record store every now and then, and he'd have a bunch of friends there. That sounds like an old
I know the record
idea,
store.
going to the record store.
Oh, it's come back.
It's come back.
Oh, has it? Okay, good.
It's retro.
But those were some of the positive things. How to walk with Mom when you're walking down the street. Always walk on the street side.
Mhm.
On the street
And
side.
holding the door and opening the door for her, allowing her to go in. It was just things like that. And then I'd have to really work at thinking of something negative that Dad did, but
Now pay attention. All right. So Michelle Obama's brother is listing the positive things about his dad. Now he's saying he can't really think of anything negative that his father did. Right? He can't really think of anything. But guess who can? Good old Michelle Obama. Listen to her.
Well, what about? Let me ask this though. I mean, Dad also came home, put his feet up. He didn't always cook. He didn't do dishes. He didn't do.
But
Do you hear this? Now, mind you, Michelle Obama's father was suffering with MS while he was working hard as hell every day, taking care of his kids, putting food on the table, making sure that both of these jokers got into elite universities. And what Michelle Obama says a negative trait of his was coming home after work and putting his goddamn feet up and watching TV. That's a negative to Michelle Obama. Are y'all hearing me? So not only was this nigga expected to go to work and bust his ass all day, now I gotta come home and help my wife cook? You hoes are crazy. I'm gonna rewind that. I want y'all to listen to this. Listen to this crap.
to walk with Mom when you're walking down the street. Always walk on the street side.
On the street
And
side.
holding the door and opening the door for her, allowing her to go in. It was just things like that.
Right.
And then I'd have to really work at thinking of something negative that Dad did. But
well, what about? Let me ask this though. I mean, Dad also came home, put his feet up. He didn't always cook. Or he didn't do dishes. He didn't do.
But you have to remember that I was thinking at the time that was okay because he was at work all day and he needed to rest, and Mom was always cooking.
You hear this? This man don't even have the testicular fortitude to step up to his sister. That's his little sister, by the way. To put his little sister in her place and defend his dead father who worked as hard as he could while he was suffering with a disease. This is the level of emasculation that the black male liberal was on at this point. This is why I cannot rock with you. This is why I don't vote like you vote. This is why I don't talk like you talk, because of niggas like this. I would never disrespect my father in that manner. But this is the nerve of Michelle Obama. Without her father, she wouldn't, I guarantee you, she would not be the person that she is today. She ought to be worshiping the ground that man walks on. But no, instead, she takes to her podcast and says it's a negative thing that her father didn't cook and clean after he got off of work.
So, but that's a good one. That's a good potential negative.
Gender roles, very clear.
Very clear gender roles.
Very clear.
Another problem with the Democrats, with being a with being a black liberal, right? You gotta co-sign shit like having no gender roles. This is the shit you gotta co-sign when you a black liberal. But I'm crazy. See, the problem with you niggas is you're so worried about getting the one up over a bunch of imaginary rednecks who are out to get you that you're willing to ruin your own community just for an aha moment against the imaginary rednecks. That's the problem here. Conservative values would actually save the black community, but the black community won't accept them because they feel like they'll be siding with rednecks who are their imaginary enemies. This is the backwards logic of the black community. Meanwhile, the rednecks ain't even thinking about niggas. As a matter of fact, nobody's thinking about niggas until they headed to the ATM at night. We gotta get it together. We really gotta get it together. What up, DQ? We cooking tonight, man. We cooking. We right in the middle of it, man. I'm opening up the lines too, if you feel like calling in. But yeah, that's literally all black liberals do. They live to be contrary to rednecks. They don't live to actually improve their own lives and their own community. They think that progress is getting the one up on a redneck. Can't make this up, man. Meanwhile, you don't even realize you in the same boat as the rednecks. Most rednecks don't give a damn what happens to you. They're not even out to get you. You see, basic things can be solved in the black community. And this goes back to what Michelle Obama and Barack Obama were just talking about. Talking about they don't believe in gender roles. Gender roles could literally save the black community. But we don't want to go with gender roles because Trump likes gender roles. But why does Trump like gender roles? Why do rednecks like gender roles? Conservatives like gender roles because it instills order in your household. If you have order in your household, right? And the next group, and the next house over has order in their household, and the house around the corner has order in their household, and all the other families in the neighborhood have order in their household, then guess what? You have order in your community. And if there's order in your community, that makes order in your culture. But we don't get that. Now, I want to move on to the second part of this interview that I wanted to highlight tonight. And it's something that Barack Obama said that really disturbed me. All right, let's get to that. All right, let's get to that. All right, here we go.
And that's one of the things that I think a lot of times boys need is not just exposure to one guy.
One dad.
One dad. No matter how good the dad
is. He can't be everything.
He can't be.
Real quick, shout out to Amir Tay Herndon. He says, I don't think that take it strictly on liberals, let alone black ones. I can go find you conservatives with viewpoints similar right now online. I'm not saying that you can't, okay? So when I'm doing these conversations, bro, I'm speaking in general, right? In general, you're gonna hear liberals, especially black liberals, have these sorts of takes. In general, you're not gonna hear conservatives talking the way Barack Obama is talking. In general, of course, there's an anomaly to every rule, but in general, you're not going to hear, one or the other. That's what I'm saying. So of course, yes, I could find a white cockroach. White cockroaches exist, but for the most part, them motherfuckers is black and brown. And that's not some type of sick metaphor to race. I'm just saying there is an anomaly to everything. Okay, so, but matter of fact, I'll give you a chance to call in later if you want to give your 2 cents. You know what I mean? But we're gonna keep cooking. So let's get to shout out to my man John Hanson on Facebook. He says it's structure that brings order. Yes, you are absolutely correct, and that's what I'm getting at. But see, the reason why we mess up is because we don't believe in structure. We think structure is for the white man. We think structure is for the conservatives. We celebrate the fact that we're not structured. You can look at a song like Dear Mama from Tupac, right? Listen to the lyrics of Dear Mama. His mother is nobody that should be lifted up. She was a horrible mother. She was a horrible mother. But these are the type of people that we celebrate in the black community. We celebrate women who make horrible decisions for themselves and for their children. We prop them up on a pedestal. There's no shame in our community. So yeah, shout out to John Hanson. He's correct. Okay, we got DQ on YouTube. He said that metaphor was wild. I was, contrary to popular belief, I was not making that metaphor to people. I'm just saying there are white cockroaches, but generally you ain't gonna see a white cockroach. That's all I was saying. Anyway, let's get back to Obama.
Everything. And that boy may need somebody to give the boy some perspective on the dad.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
One of the most valuable things I learned as a guy was I had a gay professor in college.
Oh my God.
Oh no, there's a man down.
At a time when openly gay folks still weren't out loud. Who became one of my favorite professors and was a great guy and would call me out when I started saying stuff that was ignorant. You need that to show empathy and kindness. And by the way, you need that person in your friend group so that if you then have a boy who's gay or non-binary or what have you, they have somebody that they can go, okay, I'm not alone in this.
Is this your king? Is this your king? Yo, what kind find a real man who actually has a son and wants to pass off a legacy would say some shit like this out of their mouth. I mean, at this point, you can't tell me that there's no agenda. And look, no offense to anybody out here who happens to be a gay male, okay? But I gotta be honest. You are probably the last person I want my son getting advice from. Simply because I don't want my son to end up like you. And that's not offensive, because you're happy with yourself. And
right. So
as Maryland tries to,
you're happy with yourself, and that's all that matters. Right? But me personally, I don't want my son to end up like that. So I would never have my son come talk to you for anything. Okay? That's your life choice and you're entitled to it. But that's not the route I want for my son to take. And let's say he does decide to take that route in life, then he'll have to deal with that on his own. I would never facilitate or act as any type of vehicle for my children to do shit that I didn't raise them to do. I'll still love them, but I'm not facilitating that. I'm not facilitating that. I'm not going to pretend like I agree with what they're doing simply because it's politically correct. I respect their right as an adult to engage in whatever they want to engage in. That's it. And that goes to my overall point, okay? Black male liberals are political cucks. They literally do and say anything to keep black women quiet. Even if they secretly disagree. I can't tell you how many times my liberal black friends have pulled me to the side and told me I was crazy for speaking the truth in front of black women. These niggas literally be whispering like runaway slaves. Man, shh, man, you can't say that, man. What you doing, man? You can't say that. Shh, man, you can't say that in front of them. Niggas scared of women. Y'all remember that movie, Django? I remember Django when Jamie Foxx first pulled up on the plantation with the white dude, and he had them fancy clothes on, riding on the fancy horse, and all the slaves were in awe. All the slaves were in awe of the fact that he had on fancy clothes and that he owned a horse. Okay, that's how black male liberals feel when a real man starts speaking the truth in front of black women. They like, man, who is this uppity nigga? Yo, soon as a nigga like me come around, start speaking the truth in front of black women, here they go.
Coons. Well, raccoons trying to get on our back porch. Mama just chased them off with a broom.
Not raccoons, you idiot, niggas.
Oh, shit. Honestly, man, it's the saddest shit ever, bro. It's sad, bro. It's sad seeing niggas go out like this, man. But it is what it is, man.